morning to Dr. Mukarama Binti Harun, our microeconomy lecturer. My name is Ng Xuet Yen. My metric number is 2717779. Today I will present our group assignment. We choose the proton holding per heart as our product to analysis.
Saying metric number 272148. First of all, I would like to start our presentation with the background of proton. Automotive industry in Malaysia was started in 1916 when the Malaysian Automotive Association (MAA), formerly known as Malaysian Motor Trade Association (MMTA), was established in November 1960. Start from 1983, Perusahaan Automobile Nasional Berhad, which is Proton, was established as a Malaysian first car. Proton Saka became Malaysian first national car when it was produced in 1985. The idea came from our former Prime Minister, Tun Dr. Mahathir bin Mohamad, when President of Mitsubishi Corporation visited Malaysia in 1981. In 1993, Malaysia moved forward in automotive industry when Perusahaan Automobile Kedua Sdn Bhd, which is PRODRA, was established. The purpose of this study is to analyze the demand and supply of proton car in Malaysia. There are three objectives in this study. First, to study the trend of proton car sales from 2015 to 2019. Second, to study the demand and supply factors that contribute the proton car sales. And the third, to study the short run and long run for proton in automotive industry.
In the literature review, according to the economists, price is the main factor to affect the demand and supply. Jim Chamberlain said that when the price at the higher point, consumer will decrease the demand because it simulates the opportunity cost of buying that good. In contrast, supplier will increase the supply because they will gain the profit in the market. Next, except the price, there are some other factors other than price of that good will affect the supply and demand. For the demand side, there are price of substitute goods and complementary goods, income of consumer, expected price in future, and others. In contrast, the supply side, from the research, George had indicated that there are supply chain structure, inventory control policy, cost production, and others. The supply chain structure complexity increase, the bullwhip effect generated in the supply chain also will increase, while the inventory control policy, they can prevent the stock out and the shortage of material, while the cost of production, they will affect the production in unit and also the net profit to the company. From the study case, Malaysian perception towards proton cars. From Professor Dr. Idris bin Muhammad Noor, there were 100 respondents very concerned about the quality and safety as the main factor when they consider to purchase a new car. But the price is just in the middle level, and the brand is the least factor to consider. This research also let Proton know to increase the technique on the quality and safety, then only can attract more customers to consume the proton cars. Next, from Austin David, he wrote a book named Effects of Gasoline Price on Driving Behavior and Vehicle Market, indicated that the gasoline price is very affect the automotive performance. When the gasoline price is grow up, consumer will consider to purchase a more fuel efficient vehicle. Not only that, the consumer also will typically own their vehicle for some years and won't purchase a new car in that period. So hence, the automotive industry had affected. Plus, the research done by Dr. Muhammad Rosli showed that the tariff and non-tariff barriers and the local content policy had affected the Malaysia auto production. Malaysia actually is under the Asian Free Trade Area AFTA. So the import duties were decreased and the import quotas as well as the import quotas. Actually, this government policy has increased the proton production to Asian region. Last but not the least, Nga Chi Lim has done his research entitled Proton Rise, Force and Future Prospect had indicated that Proton has some strategy to face challenge in future. The free trade agreement between India and China actually gives the opportunity to Proton increase the automotive production. This is supported by the zero import tariff in the region in this Asian region. Not only that, the Toyota brand also will cooperate with Asian. In this time, actually Proton gain the advantage and the disadvantage because Toyota brand will track the Proton sales. From this research tool, the Ngachi Lim also suggests the Proton need to more focus on expand the share of domestic market and expand the export market to become more stronger in the future industry. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Muhammad Nazim bin Maknawi. My metric number is 270331. So now I want to explain about the methodology of our analysis. So basically we are using three main methods to finish our analysis. So the first one is descriptive method, the second one is online research, and the last one is quantitative method. Okay, for the descriptive method, we use the reason why we use descriptive method is we want to explain some concept which is related to economy. For example, we use to explain the short run and long run implication of the economy in order to understand the purpose of its use. We also use this method to further explain the factor that cause change in the demand and the supply of proton to be easily understood by our reader. If you are not using this method, maybe some people or some reader will not understand the term or the concept of the short run and long run. Okay, for the next method is online research. So the reason why we use online research is we want to find and collect some data that we are need to our analysis. Through this method, we are able to find and collect the data needed to complete our analysis of Proton company. For example, we managed to find Proton company annual sales that would otherwise would be impossible to find if it wasn't online. So okay, for the last method is quantitative method. So the reason why we use this method is we want to describe the relationship between graph and the data that we obtain. Through this method, we are able to explain in more detail the change of the graph and the movement of the data obtained accurately. For example, we describe the change in the cell volume of proton in the form of graph and simpler number that can be understandable. Thank you.
My name is Jasmine Tan Singing. Number metric is 271869. Now, I would like to present the trend of proton car sales from 2015 to 2019. According to the graph, there was up and down trends in the sales volume of proton car in Malaysia in the 5 year, which is from 2015 to 2019. It was clear that there was a big decline, about 29.25% from 180 units in 2015 to 72,290 units in 2016. It is because it is in tandem with the moderating economy, lower consumer spending, and cautious business sentiment. Other than that, the sales performance of the automotive industry was weaker than 2015. Furthermore, The sales volume of Proton car in Malaysia slightly decreased in 2017 with a percentage of 1.8 from 72,290 units to 70,990 units. According to Abdul Rashid Musa, Vice President of Sales and Marketing at Proton, part of the reason that sales of Proton cars stabilized in 2017 is due to the aggressive quality improvement exercise done internally. Besides, the sales volume of Proton car in Malaysia kept reducing in 2018 with 70,990 units compared by 64,740 units in 2017, dropped by 8.8%. The GST was revised from 6% to 0% from 1st of June and remained that way from 3 months before the implementation of the SST on 1st of September. The sales volume of Proton car remained the lowest among the time period because most of the Malaysians willing to purchase brands others than Proton, such as Perdua or Honda. On the other hand, in 2019, the sales volume of Proton car in Malaysia dramatically increased from 64,740 units to 100,180 units with a percentage of 54.74. After 2015, the total annual sales of Proton vehicle have been below 100,000 units, but 2019 saw it cross the 100,000 units again to record the total sales volume of 100,180 units. According to the statement by the Proton company, Proton sales growth was powered by the X70 SUV. It's along with the double-digit percentage growth in sales for the 4 update models it launched in 2019. The X70 began its first full year of sales extremely. The X70 was the fastest selling SUV in its class. Proton says makes X70 to the leader within its segment because it maintained its position at the head of its segment for the entire year and end of 2019 with a total of 36,331 units sold. Proton said it recorded the highest sales growth in 2019 among the top 5 automotive brands in Malaysia, led by the strong showing in certain models such as X70 and Saga. Moreover, it is a strong showing some 2 years after China Geely bought a 49.9% stake in the national carmaker.
My name is Anyo Pingchi, metric number 272146. Now I will proceed to the factors that influence the demand and supply of Proton cells. The first factor that influences the demand of Proton cells is the price of Proton car. The price of Proton car have either a positive or negative relationship with the quantity demanded of Proton car. When the price of Proton car increase, the quantity demanded of Proton car will relatively decrease. This is because they have negative relationship between each other and the buyers have to spend more money to buy a Proton car. When the price of Proton car decrease, the quantity demanded of Proton car will relatively increase. This is because they have negative relationship between each other and the buyers have to spend less money to buy a Proton car. The second factor that influences the demand of Proton cells is the income of the customer. The income of customers have either a positive or negative relationship with the quantity demanded of Proton car. When the income of customer increase, the quantity demanded of Proton car will relatively increase. This is because they have more salary to spend and have more ability to buy one or more Proton car. The third factor that influences the demand of Proton cells is the expected price. The future price of proton car have either a positive or negative relationship with the quantity demanded of proton car. When the future price of proton car is expected to increase in the future, the quantity demanded of proton car will increase now. This is because the customer will purchase proton car under current lower price because they believe that they need to spend more money to purchase a proton car in the future. Besides, when the future price of proton car is expected to decrease in the future, the quantity demanded of proton car will decrease now. This is because the customers will delay on purchasing proton car because they believe that they can spend less money to purchase a proton car in the future. The four factors that influence the demand of proton cells is competition with other brands. In this market, there are many different brands of car that can purchase, such as Toyota, Honda, Purdue, and so on. All cars are sold according to the different function of car and different price. For example, Purdue is known for producing quality small cars for the same price or less than proton car price. So, this can contribute to the quantity demanded of proton car. In addition, the changes of price of competitors will also affect the quantity demanded of proton car. The fifth factors that influence the demand of proton cells is the price of complementary goods. The price of complementary goods have either a positive or negative relationship with the quantity demanded of proton car. When the price of complementary goods increase, the quantity demanded of proton car will decrease. For example, if the price of car fuel increase, customers need to pay more on purchasing car fuel. Then, the quantity demanded of proton car will relatively decrease. So, the price of complementary goods have negative relationship with the quantity demanded of proton cars. Next, the first factor that influences the supply of proton cells is the price of proton car. The price of proton car have either a positive or negative relationship with the quantity supply of proton car. When the price of proton car increase, the quantity supply of proton car will relatively increase. This is because they have positive relationship between each other and the sellers can gain more profit. When the price of proton car decrease, the quantity supply of proton car will relatively decrease. This is because they have positive relationship between each other and the sellers will gain less profit. The second factor that influences the supply of proton cell is the expected price. The future price of proton car have either a positive or negative relationship with the quantity supply of proton car. When the future price of proton car is expected to increase in the future, the quantity supply of proton car will decrease now. This is because the seller will slow down the production and more willing to sell the proton car at higher price in the future because they want to increase their net revenue. Besides, when the future price of proton car is expected to decrease in the future, the quantity supply of proton car will increase now. This is because the sellers will speed up the production and more willing to sell proton car under current higher price to increase their net revenue. With this, the expected price of proton car have negative relationship with the quantity supply of proton car. The third factor that influences the supply of proton cells is the number of suppliers. The number of suppliers have either a positive or negative relationship with the quantity supply of proton car. For example, there are a lot of suppliers of proton car because proton expands their business to many countries. In the market, the greater the number of suppliers, the greater the supply of proton car. So the number of suppliers have positive relationship with the quantity supply of proton car.
Now, I would like to present the short run and the long run for proton in automotive industry. The short run is a concept that within a certain period in the future, which the quantity of at least one input is fixed and the quantity of other input can be varied. In economy, short run express the idea that economy behave differently depending on the length of time it has to react to certain stimuli. The short run does not refer to a specific duration of time. Short run rather is unique to the firm, industry, economy variable being studied. In the short run, one factor of production is fixed such as capital. This means that if a firm wants to increase output, that means it can employ more workers. It not increase capital in short run because it takes time to expand. For example, in short run, Proton car has a greatly increase in demand. Each of the firm of Proton will raise their labor supply by getting the current worker to work overtime or having extra shift and greater material to reach the demand need in the market. Therefore, in the short run, it could get diminishing marginal return and marginal cost may start increase rapidly. Besides, in the short run, firm can survey and follow the price and wages out of equilibrium. For example, Proton a sudden rise in demand and it may lead to higher price. But Proton will not have the capacity to respond and increase supply.
In addition, the long run is a period of time when all factors of cost and production are variable. Proton can also adjust the cost in the long run. Then, Proton may expect competition in the long run. A long run is a period of time when a producer or manufacturer of Proton is elastic in his own production decision. Proton can either increase or decrease its production capacity or enter or leave the market depending on their expected profits. Proton can also examine a long run understand that they would not be able to exchange the level of production in order to help them achieve an equilibrium between demand and supply. For example, the condition when both labor and capital are variable inputs. The relationship between inputs and outputs can be explained in the long run. The supply of both labor and capital is assumed to be elastic due to its changes frequently in the long run. Therefore, Proton may hire greater quantities of both labor and capital. When the greater inputs are employed, the level of production will increase. Based on the law of returns to scale, the functional relationship between changing scale of inputs and outputs is explained in the long run. The law of return to scale can be explained with the help of isoquant technique such as isoquant curve. Besides, Proton will face new competitors enter the market in the long run. Those competitors do not exist in the short run as they cannot obtain all inputs that they need.
From this research, as explained in the chapter before, is to analyze the demand and supply to the Proton car in Malaysia. Proton, as the first Malaysian car manufacturer, has established a very strong identification in Malaysia's automotive market. However, the consumer perceives that it has not delivered that what is promised and expected. As a result, Proton is unable to create positive response to our customer. But Proton still has high potential and capacity to perform better in offering its customer product and service of prime quality. Some recommendations need to be taken into consideration in order to improve the result in the future. First and foremost, Pengusaha Automobile Nasional Berhad, Proton has to provide historical data regarding total sales of Proton car. Due to this problem, researchers face some difficulty to get the data. With the relevant data and information, it will help the researcher to do the research wisely. Next, Proton industry is in decline. With Proton losing market leadership for the first time in 2006 with the second national car maker Prodra, it was a threat to Proton. So to overcome this problem, Proton must have competitive advantage to compete with the competitor. Proton need to improve its quality of technology as well as Volkswagen or Toyota. Then people will not only down with Proton. Proton can produce the small engine because the small engine will be more efficient as there is less power loss resulting from friction. Plus, the direct proton injection is combined with a turbocharger. It will enhance the engine combustion efficiency, so the engine power output is much higher than the conventional. Next, education system of Malaysia need to be more focused the automotive program on technical and vocational education and training. Malaysia can put more effort in education to cultivate more potential students to help to produce more high-quality engineers and scientists in automotive industry. In conclusion, Proton holding Berhas as our first national car maker, it must always improve itself from every single part. Every challenge has been overcome, Proton will become more competitiveness to other automotive brands. That's all from us. Thank you.